So this is a Blueshift Talks AMA session where we'll be going through the delegation strategy that Blueshift goes through every single month. And this month's focus is around the health space. So mission-driven state pools that concentrate on working with charities in the health industry, everything from mental health, multiple sclerosis, to psychedelic drug research. And I find that one quite interesting as well, because I know very little about it. But we have a couple of special guests here, and hopefully our other two guests can join as well. We have Russell from GMP1 and also Lucas from Psi Ada as well. So gentlemen, welcome to the podcast episode. So first off, I'll just invite our guests up onto the stage to talk a little bit about their state pools and also their charities that they work with. So Russell, could you start off there first?
Yeah, thanks for that. First of all, I'd just like to thank Blueshift for the opportunity to get on here and speak about our state pool. I think that's really fantastic. My name's Russell Wallace, and I'm the owner-operator of Graham's Number +1 State Pool. I'll kind of go through the questions that were the guide questions that were sent to us. Start off just a little bit about my background is that I'm semi-retired now. I've spent about 35 years working in forensic technology and compliance, working for Big Four consultancy firms, large banks and regulators. So I've seen things from a slightly different perspective sometimes. We set up the state pool. We set up the state pool back in October 2020. And at the time we registered it, made it a registered business in the UK. Basically, we weren't really sure about what the liability issues might be with it. But one of the other things is we're quite strict on compliance and things like data privacy and running giveaways and that. We just wanted to make sure that we were compliant and not breaching any rules of the gambling acts and that within the UK. My interest in crypto goes back to, I guess, about 2013 when I originally started mining Litecoin, then moved on to mining Ethereum. I think I mined around 147 Ethereum at the time, but unfortunately sold them for about $15, so didn't make much money there. But it was an interesting experience anyway. I moved on to learning about Cardano later on, and I was keen to be part of the ecosystem. And it's always been something I wanted to get involved with. Mental health, if we go to the mission of the state pool, mental health has always been something that I feel is often overlooked. I've known many people with mental health issues. I'm sure you all have throughout your life. And I think it's one of those things I did want to see what I could do to help. Part of the journey of working with the Cardano ecosystem, I thought it would be great to have the opportunity to maybe donate what I could to mental health. So far, along the way, we've managed to donate. We managed to donate over $4,000 worth, roughly, to 35 charities around the world in Africa, UK, Australia, and the USA. Admittedly, we're still trying to find ourselves with where we want to focus the charity. I guess this comes about from the first 12 months or so. We've only minted 29 blocks at the moment, but during that time, we were getting fairly regular slot allocations, and the price of ADA was quite high then, so we actually were able to make some meaningful donations. This has dried up recently in the last 6 to 12 months, and we've not been very lucky with slot allocation. And hopefully somewhere along the line we can pick up the stake and see what we can do to help. All the donations we make are documented on the website. As a member of Mission Driven Pools, we submit the receipts to GitHub, and these are all verified and can be seen on the website. Do you want me to keep going through the bullet points, or do you want to ask questions as we go?
That's cool. I'll jump over to Psi Ada, Lucas, just in a moment as well. But the mental health side of things, I think, is so important, and it's kind of like a neglected a lot, especially in the crypto space. You have to remember that the markets go up and down. Um, there's so many highs, so many lows, and one moment you could be riding on cloud nine, the next moment you're down the dumps because everything is falling apart, and you're overworked trying to work in the space. You're awake 24 hours a day because Twitter doesn't sleep, crypto doesn't sleep, and looking after your mental health and physical health actually is so important. I learned last year from burning out from overworking, making too many videos, that it's not sustainable. So I'm very much behind the whole mental health side of things, and making sure that people are looking after themselves in this space, especially in this space.
Yeah. Sorry, go on.
No, all good. Go on.
Yeah, look, I couldn't agree more. It's I think we hear a lot about mental health in sport and in football and things like that, and it's becoming more and more prevalent in society. And I think obviously with the development of cryptocurrency, the more we can utilize these type of ecosystems to bring about awareness of the issues people face, I think it's a great idea.
Okay, and moving over to psychedelic Saida, can you give us a little bit of an overview, if you can, about yourself and your stake pool?
Yeah. I will just try to keep it short because I have a hard time speaking. I'm sick today and I spent the last few days in a bed. But yeah, it's going to be 2 years since we're around in February. It's going to be 2 years since the pool was registered on Cardano mainnet. And our focus is actually very similar to GNP1's. Just the approach is a bit different because we're focused also on mental health illnesses and issues, but the approach and treatment is made with psychedelic drugs, and there are really great results of treatments of mental health illnesses like depression, anxiety, and so many others using psychedelic drugs like substances like psilocybin and many others. So we've already donated to like 19 projects. We donate monthly. All the donations are on chain, so easy to verify. And we almost donated about $10,000. We're also donating another part of the revenue to tree planting, to carbon offset Cardano blockchain, and all our nodes are running on servers that are on renewable energy. So sorry, I really have hard time to like speak longer. I hope that was sufficient, and just let me know for any questions. I'll try to answer them. Sorry.
No, that's brilliant. Thank you so much for that overview. I know very little about the psychedelic drugs side of things or legalities around it. But if you have any links or references that you can pin to the top of this conversation, I'm sure people listening in and people later on can actually pull up those resources and learn a little bit more about what it's all about, and the research and everything behind it as well.
Yeah, sure. One thing I'm also doing is like I'm trying to spread awareness about these kinds of researches, these kinds of substances, as they are quite controversial still, because in big part of the world they are still illegal to use, or even for research. Some states are having problems to use them for research. So I'm also sharing many informations about them on my Twitter. So if you don't follow me, just you can click on follow, and sometimes you can read some interesting articles. But I will try to find some and place it here to the Twitter conversation too.
Cool, brilliant. Thank you very much for that. So Russell, we'll jump back over to you and just talk about how the stake pool in general has achieved these goals. You said like you're minting a lot of blocks beforehand and you're raising a lot of funds and whatnot. What type of impact have you seen in regards to your stake pool actually donate to these charities? Like, have you seen any outcomes from them or anything?
Yeah, originally, when if we go back 12 months ago, we were quite active and it was going quite well. We did have quite a few meetings with a number of the charities, at least the ones in the UK that we could catch up with. And I mean, the initial response is most charities don't understand crypto. It's a mystery to them, but a few of them were prepared to sit down and listen. And I think we're obviously a bit too early to expect them to actually accept any kind of donations in crypto, but it's something that they are open to. And we've made some small achievements in a sense. It's in the sense of them following us on Twitter, and also a couple of put us down as business partners on their website. So we're starting to share the word. And I think the biggest challenge at the moment, of course, is a lot of charities are obviously a little bit suspicious about crypto in general. And I think one of the main focuses we can have once we start to build relationships with some of the charities is just to try and educate them, and hopefully somewhere down the track we can actually do our donations in Cardano. I know a couple of the charities. I think one of the ones in Africa was keen to accept crypto, but they didn't have the ability to accept ADA. So we're monitoring that. So in terms of achieving the goals, yeah, I think we're building the partnerships with the mental health organizations. A little bit worried that this has slowed up recently because of the lack of blocks that we've been minting, and it's obviously difficult to get the same interest when we're not donating. Obviously, the more we can donate, the more interaction we can kind of get with them. So I think we started off well. We've done well. We'd like to return to that level of support. But it's really a matter of us being able to build our stake up again so that we can be as active as possible.
Yeah, and a lot of these delegation strategies, such as what Blueshift is doing with their ADA from their decks, is definitely something that can help you guys out.
Absolutely.
Now, for those that don't know or listening into this episode a little bit later, we do run monthly polls on our Twitter account and the Blueshift account. Once we get some nominations from the community around a particular topic, this month was around health, we shortlist some of them depending on the level of engagement, and then we put them up for a vote. And this vote round came up with 4 stake pools, GMP1, Psi ADA, Monster, and also the last one slipped my mind.
It's Aussie
Pool. Aussie Pool, of course. Good old Aussie Pool. Thank you for that. And the voting is supposed to end in a few hours, but there's a clear leader at the moment. But the really interesting outcome out from this, Psi ADA, at the moment, you're in the lead by quite a long shot. But you mentioned that you may want to split the delegation or redirect it. Is that correct?
Yeah. I really appreciate all the support of all the people that nominated us. It was really nice to see that. But I know that this was based on nomination, but also like small pools were mentioned, and Psi ADA is actually doing pretty well. We're around like 26 millions of ADA staked, and the 2 pools, GNP1 and Monster, are under 1 million, and we would really like to Blueshift to split this wallet to the small pools in the pool. As first of all, I'm not a big fan of the popularity contest of these polls, and I know there's probably like no better form of how to like vote or something, but yeah, if that would be possible, it's not over yet. I think it's still like 3 hours left, but if this happens, and that would be possible, that I would be really happy that we might support a bit some other pools, some other colleagues, because since since we started the pool, we've been bootstrapped a few times, but by multiple projects, even Cardano Foundation, and that helped us a lot to help to grow the pool. And yeah, I believe the love we receive, we have to share it, we have to pass it around too. So that's why we do that.
How beautiful is that? Yeah, that's really cool. We have redirected and split delegation before in the past. So
Yeah,
it shouldn't be a problem. We actually have our marketing manager, Zena, in the call as well. So Zena, if you give us a whole bunch of love hearts or something, then I'm assuming that will be okay.
that's really great. Thank you for that. I'm happy you like the idea and you can do it. So it's great.
All right, brilliant. Okay. Now I'll just move on to, I'll actually, while we're talking about achieving goals, as we did with GMP1, Lucas, could you go through how some of these donations, well, quite a few donations that you've made, has it had any impact with some of these charities, Leadway, or changing people's minds in regards to psychedelic drugs or anything like that?
Well, that's really hard to track, because like when we for example donated to some like big names in psychedelic research, our donation was mostly a little drop in the ocean. So but I'm happy we supported it. We've been also in touch with some psychedelic research here in Czech Republic. I'm from Czech Republic, uh, and we've made 2 donations to them, and they were really happy. They reached out to us, asked if they can help with something, and they are doing some kind of psilocybin, like magic mushrooms, research for treatment of depression for the people that are resistant for like typical medicaments in this field, and they have really good results. So they were really happy for the donation, and they reached out for me. So I believe we made a little impact. It's really hard to track like how much we did for that, but yeah.
Yeah, it is very hard to find tangible results from some of these donations, but if we're seeing some progress in research or engagement just like that, like the charity is actually reaching out to you and learning a little bit more about what you do, what's happening in the Cardano ecosystem, and how this is even possible, I think that's a really cool achievement.
Yeah, we've been also helping a few of them to accept data. Like we make all the donations are on chain, but like 90%, 95% of them they accept like Bitcoin or some other kind of cryptocurrencies. And yeah, we've helped like three of those charities to accept data. That was nice. I've helped them to like set up a wallet and show them how to manage it and all that. So, and I still offer this kind of service for free to charities related to psychedelic research. So yeah, if anybody like to accept data as donation, I always say like reach out to me. And there is also this another service called Pledge.io, I think is the website, and they have a big database of charities all around the world, and there are a few psychedelic charities too. And ADA is one of the possibilities in the Pledge.io, so you can donate ADA directly to those charities. So it's really cool thing, and I've used it for the last 3 donations, I think.
Pledge.io. Okay, awesome. I'll check that out. Yeah. I'll Google it.
I can share it.
Yep. Cool.
I don't know how to pin a message. I've shared some one to the comment about the psychedelic research, so I can also share the Pledge.io website.
Cool. I'll just pin that to the top at the moment.
Okay.
If you go to the tweet and you click the share button, and then it give you the whole options at the very top of that, it will have the name of the Twitter space. You click on that, and that will pin it to the top of the conversation. Just for anyone else that wanted to know that as well. All right. So thank you so much for that. And, one of the really interesting things I would love to see is some of these charities eventually have their own wallets and delegate to, your own stake pool. So as they're gaining some of the ADA, they're delegating to the pool, or even one day, if they're getting enough ADA, set up their own stake pools around it. So it kind of is a little bit more self-sustaining. So they're earning their rewards in the ecosystem and using that to sell, I guess, and fund their research. So yeah, it would be amazing if we ever got to that point, and the charities themselves could actually be a little bit more self-sufficient and have their own source of income for, one, validating the Cardano blockchain, but also earning a little bit of income off that. That'd be absolutely amazing as well. So now, in regards to growing your stake pools in general. So Lucas, you said you managed to bootstrap yourself and grow over time. And Graham, Russell, you are still a little bit on the smaller side here. So I'd like to go through some tips in general on how to possibly grow these stake pools, these small ones, gain more reach, get enough delegation there to mint every single epoch, which is around 3 million ADA mark at the moment. So guys, would you like to share any insight into this to be able to get up to that point? And, being a stake pool operator myself, I'll chime in a little bit, and I can see a couple of other stake pool operators listening in as well. So I'd love to hear your thoughts as well, if you want to come up on stage in regards to growing your stake pools. Lucas, you want to start first with some of these delegation strategies that you managed to get in on?
Yeah, I can. Well, it's really hard to say like what helped the most, but I think like being active like daily on social media is something that really helps. Like show the people that you're around. Share some things, tweet. I think Twitter is like the best platform to be active in. And regarding the bootstraps and all that, like the Cardano Foundation is doing this program, and they are delegating about 15 million ADA like every 3 months to about, I don't know, it's like 50 or 60 pools, something like that. So you can, if you're a contributor to Cardano ecosystem, you can apply for this delegation, which we did, and we received it about a year ago. Another thing was that we applied for Husky rug pools, and we've been successful in that, and I'm really grateful for that, because that really helped a lot to grow the pool up. And yeah, it was a lot of fun around. So pretty grateful for being one of the Husky rug pools. As you know, that Husky has a lot of impact in the ecosystem, and I'm really happy we can still be part of that.
Yeah, a little bit impact in there. The rug pools are cool, so you're very happy to get that.
And also, like after that, I was looking for more partnerships. Like one of them was Ardana, unfortunately rug, but we all believe like this is a solid project. I think like even Charles was invested in Ardana, and that was one of the projects. Their ISPO helped us a lot to grow like over 20 millions or something like that. So yeah, it was not really successful finally, as you all know, but I can only say like you never know what's gonna happen. And one of the ways of growing the pool is looking around for partnerships with some other projects. looking around for partnerships for SPOs and to bring something more for the delegates. That's all I wanted. Like I wanted to have some more tokens for them, and that also helped to grow the pool. So yeah, that was one of the projects.
Yeah, most definitely. I just talking from my own experience around that. So we were a part of the Adana State Pool Alliance as well for that project. So we sustained a lot of growth, a lot of delegation. But before then, I think the thing that really shot up for us, and you can see it in our delegation history, was the Sunday Swap ISO.
Yeah.
And going through that terrible voting process where I'm pretty sure SPOs didn't sleep for about 5 days straight, trying to explain to the entire communities how to delegate, how to vote on the Sunday Swap ISO thing. But yeah, we personally didn't make it to that top 30, but we made it into the backup pools. Where delegation still mattered and you can get your distribution, but we weren't a scooper, a Sunday Swap scooper. So we were very, very fortunate to get onto that secondary list and grow our state from that. So it was an absolutely amazing opportunity for us, and shot the state pool up to definitely top of the list. And around that, I think for myself, I was doing a video at that point. I was doing a video every single day about something in the Cardano ecosystem, everything from Sunday Swap to Mint Swap and DeFi in general. And that just built up a huge amount on my YouTube channel, which gained a lot of traction and I guess influence in the community. So I think that was a big thing for myself in growing the state pool and my influence in the community. But Russell, what about yourself? What have you worked on? What has worked for you so far? And what are you trying to do at the moment?
Yeah, thanks. Just let me start off by, look, I'd really like to thank Psychedelic and Paul for his offer of allowing so many potential stake going to the smaller pools. I think it's great to see the larger pools help us out like that in that way, because it is really difficult when you're even like if you're sub 500,000 ADA. I think we all know the difficulties in trying to attract stake when we're at that level. So to hear that from Psychedelic, and I think that was supported by Aussie Pool as well, I think that's really fantastic. But just moving forward in what you were saying there, I think one of the things I would say, from my perspective with a small pool, and if anyone else was trying to start up a small pool, and assuming you're not an influencer and you don't have a huge following, it's always going to be difficult to get stake. But I think the way we look at it, if you start off by first thinking it's about being part of the community, coming in and learning. If you're prepared to learn about Cardano, learn how to run a successful stake pool, how to run the hardware, the software, and ensure that at least your infrastructure is working well, you have a solid base to be part of that community. The other things, I think it's important to be transparent. Like I say, we try to be as transparent as possible with any donations, the receipts, etc., are posted on the website. And as part of mission-driven pools, the receipts are independently audited by on GitHub too. So I think that's important, just to try and get your credibility up. And like the other caller was saying, it's about building a reputation, being on social media all the time, trying to provide valid contributions to discussions, getting on some of the Telegram, the best practice support groups. I guess this is more from a technical aspect of making sure that everything's running well, but certainly social media and Twitter is a fantastic medium, because if you do it right, you can build your following. You can contribute. You can contribute to valid and important discussions, and give yourself an opportunity to, I think, not just build on the ecosystem, but also to validly. I mean, I've questioned things in Cardano a few times on social media, and I think all that kind of constructive challenge is useful and helpful. But it's really about making a mark so that people may trust you, and join your pool. The other thing I want to add there, I think, and it's probably when we move on to the parameter talk, it's always going to be a contentious subject about what the correct parameters should be. But certainly from our perspective, I mean, we're very small and we can't be competitive. We can't be competitive by taking anything. So right now we invest everything back. I mean, the minimum pool fee we share with delegators. We've just dropped our margin down to 0%. We're trying to do everything so that to be as attractive as possible, so that over time, theoretically at least, the returns on delegating to our pool will match larger pools. Now, I guess, yes, you could say how sustainable is that? You have costs. You've got your server costs, accounting costs, all this kind of costs, which obviously means you have to be prepared to run at a loss, and we're certainly doing that. But I don't see another way around it until you can build that following and be successful at building the following and building the stake up. So I think you have to be dedicated, enjoy doing it. And we enjoy running the stake pool. We learn a lot. I love being part of the community. It's great to discuss things, and there's always plenty of people out there to help you get things right when we have problems. So I think it's really about accepting that you've got to be more really part of the community, developing the ecosystem, and hopefully in time, by being active enough, you can build that stake and start to become a serious player in the SPO system. It's difficult, and in the bear market makes it a lot more difficult because obviously the pool rewards we earn are worth a fraction of what they used to do. So I think you just have to stick it out, and we all hope and believe that we'll pull through this one day, and the rewards will help us. And I think it's important that the rewards go back up again, because obviously we were giving around 20% of our rewards to charity. And obviously when the price of ADA up, is you can give a reasonable amount to charity, and it means a lot. It means something to them. So that's something we're hoping to do going forward. And finally, I just was trying to think what the last point I was going to say is, no, sorry, look up the last point slips my memory, but
all good.
It's really about just continuing along those lines.
Now, before I just bring up Vahid from Ada for Good, I'd just like to mention how Aussie has approached it. Now, I know I can speak on their behalf because I speak to Becca almost every single day. Well, I used to almost every single day. But they're really engaging everywhere on Twitter and on Facebook. And I found personally myself, Facebook a really good place to educate a lot of people that had no idea about crypto in general. You find that a lot of people that are on the Twitter space and talking about crypto do have some sort of idea. They're a little bit more tech orientated, and crypto is life on Twitter. Whereas Facebook, it bridged into their everyday life, and there was a lot of people on there that don't dive into crypto every single day, but we're looking at Facebook groups and whatnot in the Twitter and Cardano space, wanting to learn a little bit more. And again, every single day you see the same questions come again. How does delegation work in Cardano? What's an epoch? And Becca was there answering every single question every single day, and it was incredible how much she was on social media. But that definitely helped Aussie Pool gain some really, really dedicated followers and dedicated fans through their stake pool. So from early comments about being online, always being there, answering people's questions, that definitely worked for Aussie. So Vahid, you're there. Did you want to jump in and chime in on anything?
Hey, thanks, Pete. Hello, everybody. Yeah, you mentioned you wanted some input from other stake pools, and I wondered if you wanted, and yeah, happy.
Most definitely. Yeah, please share.
Yeah. First off, I really love this this approach Blueshift is taking as a charity stake pool. Of course, we love this approach. Also, Lucas going for the smaller pools is a thing that we stand for as well with the XVO lines. Which we present. But regarding the how to attract stake, well, I think you guys filled it all in. Maybe I could summarize by saying that what I do is I approach delegation by the perspective of the delegator. So I try to understand what delegators are faced and how they are going to make a choice where they're going to delegate. And the thing is that I think that there are 3,000 pools, and when you enter the space, if you are not really known, all these stake pools look the same, especially if you don't know what to look for. So you have to differentiate, and it doesn't really matter how to differentiate. You have to stand out, and the best way to do that, which is the most sustainable way to do that, is to add value, because you can stand out by doing some engagement farming on Twitter and getting a lot of followers, but I don't think that's the thing that works the best. The best thing is the way like Pete is doing, for example, by sharing all the information on his YouTube channel, that's adding actual value, helping people like Aussie Pool is doing, and Lucas is sharing all this information about psychedelics. So I think you have to help the community and combine adding value with being present and doing that consistently. So not like, okay, I'm going to do it for a month and then that's it. That's not going to work, because people, you build trust by being consistent, by adding value all the time. So I think that's it's also for me the case, I would say.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for that summary, and very, very good valid points here as well. Now, Zena, you came up on stage. I'm assuming this is about the splitting of the delegation. Would you like to speak at the moment and get introduced? Yep. Okay. So Zena's the marketing manager at Blueshift. I work with her on a daily basis. And we're doing some really, really cool things. The whole ecosystem around Blueshift is developing incredibly. We're on Milkometer at the moment, on Cardano and Algorand, launching on Kava very soon, and then also building our own Blues chain. It's our own chain that will allow and enable cross-chain swaps. So you can swap directly from your Cardano wallet over to Algorand very, very soon. So it's going to be a really, really interesting space. But Zena, welcome to the stage.
Well, thanks for a nice introduction. Hi, Pete. Hi, everyone else. I'm saying I'm liver marketing here at Blueshift, and it's one of my personal favorite projects that we are doing is the ADA delegations for stake pools. I believe we found a nice grouping principle to be following the SDG logic, so that in the first round was related to poverty, second was related to hunger, now the third one is related to health. The next one is going to be related to education, and I see K-Top stake pool here as well, who is helping us to build Korean community and educate Korean community about Blueshift and about Cardano. So we definitely see ourselves as part of the ecosystem to also be doing just like what our psychedelic stake pool is doing, leading by example. So we don't just believe in doing impact. We like to motivate others to do it. And we definitely like seeing the action that's happening here with the bigger pools suggesting to distribute the reward among the smaller pools. So thank you for that, guys. This leading by examples and we learn from you, We also learn from our communities. And I like how the whole cycle works. So we announce the topic, then we invite community to suggest different pools, and then we think, okay, what do we actually have this time? Do we have enough of pools suggest some of the topics are more fruitful and some are not? And this time it was exactly the case where Pete and me were talking about like, hey, look, we have some of the bigger pools and some of the smaller pools. What do we do? Because it would be unfair if the community size and how do we give everyone equal chance to win. So we actually thought about all of that, but we thought, let's just trust the process. Let's see what people are going to say. Let's see how the community is going to react. And what happened is just the best outcome I could have only thought about. So absolutely fantastic. Thank you to our community, to your communities, strong support. And I believe that this is a good example of how strong communities, how united it is, and how we're all working towards the same goal, towards making the blockchain a better place and making more utility, creating more utility for blockchain and for cryptocurrencies, as well as you guys been mentioning charities are somewhat suspicious to crypto and whatnot. And yeah, by being consistent and providing your support, you are actually changing the image and you are proving that there is more to it than just what the media is trying to make out from us. So thanks for that. If you guys have any questions, let us know. I'm also here together with Pete behind this control here at Blueshift. And as a reminder, the next ADA delegation will be related to the education. So you can already start thinking of different pools that you may want to see nominated, listed, and then invited to AMAs or any other things. I'd like to also mention that besides giving the delegation itself, we also engage in creating some joint marketing with the smaller pools. For example, we've recently posted a video testimonial by Sharepool. Bastian recorded this video and we gave it a retweet. So we are very happy to use our resources to help leverage it, to help amplify your smaller pools. So if you guys, any of the stake pools that are here now, want to engage in any cross-marketing activities, doing some nice collaborations, let us know. We're very open. We can write articles together. We can make videos. We can engage into creating more AMAs like this. So don't be shy. Let us know and ask any questions if you have now. And thanks for everyone that had joined this topic. I am a big believer in social impact matters. Before I used to work in a lot of my consulting projects. I used to work with World Economic Forum, suggesting to them models how to help smaller cities benefit from digital transformation and not be, behind all the progress that the big cities are making. And now I'm happy to translate that experience and my passion to social impact here working in Blueshift and in the blockchain sphere. So thanks for being here. Thanks for being part of this whole big movement.
Yeah, in our meetings, Zena usually gets quite excited about all the social impact stuff that we can actually do. So it's always really cool to hear. And we definitely do take a different approach in regards to our delegation strategy. So a lot of the delegation strategy, the Cardano community, it's just, there you go, here's some ADA and good luck. We take a different approach. We make sure that you guys get exposure. We do the interviews and everything else, all these extra follow-ups as well. And we keep on reminding people that we did delegate to you guys, check you guys out, et cetera, et cetera. So it's more of a partnership as soon as you get to this point. So you stick around and you get more than just the delegation. So that's just a little reminder for anyone out there. Now, we are running out of time here, so I know people are a little bit time poor, but we had a little bit more of a conversation that we want to cover. And it's one of the more controversial topics in the Cardano ecosystem at the moment. I haven't been keeping up with this, so I don't know where it's at the moment, but this is the parameters that are set for the various state pools. So there's one parameter called the K parameter, which is the number of state pools that are needed in the Cardano ecosystem. Currently that's set to 500. And there's also the A0 parameter, which is the pledge, the amount of ADA that is set by the state pool operator on the state pool itself. And some of these parameters can be tweaked and changed, and it has a bit of effect. Oh, and also the fixed fee. There was a bit of a conversation about changing that and making it reduced significantly. So I'd love to get some input from our guests here at the moment in regards to what you guys think about these parameters. What can change? What will the changes what effect will these changes have in the Cardano ecosystem as well? And why do we need to change them? Russell, did you want to start first with this one?
Yeah, sure. Look, I think obviously, it is a controversial area. I think particularly around the minimum pool fee. Obviously from a small operator, well, I guess you call me an extra small operator. I'm totally against the minimum pool fee because, I mean, like I say, I give it all back to delegators for one, so it's a cumbersome manual process to work out on a proportionate basis what everyone gets back when we do mint blocks, and it'd be a lot easier if we could just set that to zero. Look, I understand, and I've heard different viewpoints around this with regard to network security or various other reasons. I'm not technical enough to really know what to say about that, but I just feel like my understanding, it was never meant to be in the original design, and I just think it really does hinder small pools like myself because, at best we're going to mint one block and a POC, and at the moment, and even with 1 million in stake, you're still going to only do maybe one and a POC, and the problem that, of course, is your delegators are only getting about 45% of the delegation. So in all honesty, why would you delegate to a small pool? So I do have views on that. I know there are differing views, and I respect them as well, but certainly from my perspective, the only other one I would comment on is the pledge one. I mean, we're a very small pool, and yet we still have 25,000 pledged, which is, I think, a reasonable amount for the size we are, and we would obviously increase that if we were to get bigger. My understanding at the moment, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it really makes no difference what your pledge is to the output of slot allocation. And I just feel, yes, the pledge should be taken more into consideration, and also, I mean, K at 500, I think that was always meant to be increased to 1,000, and that's certainly the redistribution at 1,000 would certainly move the stake around a bit and certainly help smaller pools. So, I guess to summarize, my viewpoints are obviously very much directed and motivated. Are very much directed and motivated by the fact we are a small pool, but I think from a fairness perspective, I think it would be great if these could be reconsidered and looked at again. But happy to listen to other people's viewpoints on these.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of talk around that space, and I can definitely confirm that we used to have a pledge of 1 million ADA. We used to have a state pool investor that was a part of the pool, which has recently left, and him leaving with his million ADA has made absolutely no difference in terms of block allocation for us. So I can definitely confirm that the pledge has almost no to little difference. What I do understand, though, is that it rewards were a little bit higher in regards to having that million ADA reward in there. It's a little bit hard to calculate because we had to split the rewards between all the owners that we had. And then, that was all in different portions as well. But from what I understand, it's supposed to be a little bit higher.
Yeah.
Now, we did have just a sidechain yellow come up as well. You got your hand raised. Did you want to contribute there?
Yeah, have you guys looked into Ouroboros Laos at all and everything that's coming with that?
Myself, no, I have not. I've been out of the protocol space with the whole
Okay.
stateful parameters and everything around it. But if you got a link, if you could pin it up to the top, that'd be really
Well,
appreciated.
yeah, I'll pin it to the top, but the reason why I'm bringing that up is a lot of people are jumping the gun on this like crazy. There's a reason why IOG has tactfully, strategically ignored everybody in regards to this topic, and that's because when Ouroboros Laos comes, there's going to be 4 separate lotteries in parallel, not just the blocks that stake pool operators, try to qualify for today. You're going to have input blocks, endorsement blocks, and endorsement certificates. 4 separate lotteries going in parallel when Ouroboros Laos comes. And they're all going to be rewarded, but the math isn't doxed or, and it's not, there's no public information on like what the actual math is for the rewards for those subsequent blocks. But that's at large why nothing has been done about this. And I will pin Laos to the top, but you could just go to the IOG portal and read the Ouroboros Laos paper that elegantly kind of explains this.
Okay, cool. Did you say Laos?
Yeah, it's spelled weird, like Leois or something like that.
Okay, yeah, I'm
Laos.
gonna find that. Yeah, all right, cool. Please pin it at the
I'll
top.
pin
No,
it.
I'll have a good read. Okay, that would explain a lot if there are future plans on changing how the whole how Ouroboros works in general. So that's that would make sense. Lucas, Vahid, you got your hand up. Did you want to comment there?
Yeah, just a very short follow-up on what Saichin just said. So Laos is the new protocol that is going to enable input endorsers. So then you're gonna get much more blocks, which will remove the problem of small pools not minting any block for many epochs. So that's cool, but that does not change anything about the minimum fixed fees K A naught. That's a separate discussion and still is a problem.
Okay, cool. Thank you for the input there. Lucas, did you have any comments in regards to these parameters that are set at the moment, or anything with Laos even?
Yeah. But I first of all, I have to say that's really a really complex topic, and it's hard to predict what's gonna happen when you change one parameter, because it's hard to predict the future and how the people might game the system again. Like if the K rises to 1,000, it's quite possible that most of the multiple operators will just double the amount of their pools, and yeah, I think it's really hard to predict what's gonna happen. I'm not a fan of the minimum fixed fee. I think this should be removed or at least lowered, because the conditions to compete are not the same for all the state pools at the moment. And with ANOC, I don't really know. I don't have any opinion, because I've seen so many opinions, and it's hard to say how this would impact the ecosystem. Any change with ANOC, that's really hard to say. I think there was a really cool idea to some kind of Cardano improvement proposal to like change. I don't know how was it called. It was about the pledge impact on the pool. Could anyone of you knows? There was a good idea. I think it was Dr. Leisenfeld who proposed that. Yeah, SIP 50. That was a nice idea, I think. But what do you think about it, Dwight?
Yeah, I think I agree with you. That's very, very complicated. And anything that you change will have effect on some other parts that we cannot predict. So I fully agree. And what I do think is very clear is that pledge is probably going to be the best way to improve the system. So currently pledge has almost no influence. And by increasing pledge, you can also prevent pools splitting. So I would say, and that's actually what SIP 50 is basically saying. It also has disadvantages because there is no perfect rewards formula. because there's always some bad things you have to make choices.
Yeah. I also know like what Pete was saying about the 1 million ADA pledged. There was probably almost no impact, because I've heard something like if you're pledging like 60 million ADA, then you receive like 20 or 30% more rewards. But you have to have like a fully pledged pool, like you have your ADA and you pledge it all. You will receive some more rewards.
You have to be above like 30 billion pledged, so for it to actually make a difference.
Yeah.
That's why it doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why we didn't see any difference really with that amount of. You'd think that's a lot of ADA there, but obviously not.
But the optics is really good for delegates, I think. Like, okay, I'm delegating to pool and they're pledging like 1 million. That's really good optics, I believe. And I think there is some impact in ranking of the pools. If you're pledging more, you rank much higher in like ADA pools, Explorer, and some other rankings.
Yeah, that was definitely the case. We were very well ranked, at least in the top 10 on Daedalus and the other pool explorers as well. So that huge pledge always really helped. But that's part of the user experience as well. And I think of the education and onboarding of delegates, where I'm trying to avoid some of these really big pool metric websites, which a lot of people just don't understand, and there's just so much information on there. I just try and create that funnel process where you direct a user that you may pick up. Maybe you've written an article or a YouTube video or something, you direct them directly to your website and then teach them how to delegate from your website via NAMI wallet or whatever wallet they're using Eternal. Click that delegate button, confirm, done, and that's it. They don't see all this other mess and confusing information that they do see on Pool Explorers. Sure, once they upgrade themselves and they educate themselves and they're a little bit more well-versed in picking a pool and understanding what epochs are and everything else around it, then yeah, sure, you put them down the path for a Pool Explorer and then go find a new pool. But hopefully, if you've onboarded them and you taught them everything around the Cardano ecosystem and how everything else works, then as a person that you've onboarded into the ecosystem directly through your website, hopefully, fingers crossed, they stick with you. And that was always my strategy and how I approach things. And I've found it's worked quite well. So fingers crossed it keeps on working well for me. Now, we do have one more question, the topic on here, and this comes back to the mission-driven pools and especially with what you guys are doing. Now, what is the future of the mission-driven pool? Is it a sustainable thing that you guys can keep going in the next bear market, in the next bull market, whatever it might be? I know in the bull market, you guys would be fine to donate to these charities a portion of your ADA rewards and whatnot, but come next bear market, can you keep on doing this? Is it sustainable? Can a charity one day set this up, their own stake pools, and self-sustain themselves with ADA rewards?
It's GMP1. Do you want me to get started?
Go for it.
Yeah. I think, well, first of all, I guess we're in a bear market now, and we are struggling a bit to keep the commitments. We do still try and make some donations where possible. And I think one of the other things that's important, because I have actually read some criticisms from people about mission-driven pools, and the criticism is along the line of well, let the delegators decide if they want to donate to charity. Why are you forcing them to donate to charity? But I think if people understood that the donations to charity, certainly in our case, and I think in most of the mission-driven pools, is coming out of the rewards that they receive, and it's not like the delegator is giving up any of their percentage of the rewards. I think that's a bit of a misconception there that we have to work on. But certainly with regards to the future of mission-driven pools. I think it's really important. I think it's a great concept, and it allows us to differentiate us from other blockchains. We live in times now where social responsibility is paramount on everyone's agenda. We see it with the huge multinational companies, the Apples and Microsofts, etc., and like that. So if Cardano can kind of hold on to that, or at least some aspect of it in the mission-driven pools, I can only see it as a socially responsible and forward-thinking system. So I think the future of mission-driven pools is really really optimistic, because as long as we are transparent about the nature of the donations, and that delegators are clear on how the system works and where the money comes from, I think it can only be a positive and great thing for Cardano in general, and the ecosystem in general. So yeah, I'm very positive and very hopeful in that regards.
And thank you for that, Russell. Vahid, Lucas, do you guys have any comments in regards to this?
Yeah, I think I think like mission-driven pools will continue doing what they're doing. The bear market is quite hard. I can confirm that. It's like we are donating 20% of all the block rewards to psychedelic research, and another 5% of all the block rewards to tree planting initiatives. And if I count if I count the costs of servers, if I count, because here in Czech Republic I also have to have some kind of a business license or something like that to run the pool, so I have to pay the insurance on it and some other things. At the moment, even with like 26 million of stake, that's a community service, but we keep donating. We will be doing it in the future, and I think like bear market is not here forever, so that might change. We can eventually like donate more in the future, but we try to keep the percentage at the moment of the donations, even if it's like, yeah, it's like there is almost no profit on the pool if I count it. Like if I count all the things around, even with like 26 millions of stake, if I pay like all the things around. But the bull market was pretty nice, and yeah, we could donate much more, like if you count the price of ADA and all that. And yeah, I believe like if the mission-driven pools would like to continue donating, they will. And I'm really happy to see the impact. I'm really happy to see like there are people that want to keep donating, and they want to see some change, and they want to make some impact. Thanks to the Cardano ecosystem. The energy on Cardano is very different than like business oriented, like Bitcoin mining and any other cryptocurrency. I don't know any other blockchain that has the same energy, and where there are people that would like to share some profits or revenues with some charities and all that. And that's especially the reason I'm in Cardano. Community is awesome, and people here are great. And I'm really happy I found the community of Cardano, and really it's an honor to be a part of it.
Absolutely brilliant. Now we are coming up to the end of our Twitter space here. Now, if anyone wants to listen back, if they came in a little bit late, you can listen to all of our conversations, all of our AMAs on Spotify and also on our YouTube channel as well. Just search for Blueshift Talks on Spotify, and you'll be able to find all of our previous AMAs, our CTO stand-ups and everything else around it. And of course, our YouTube channel that has a whole bunch of tutorials interviews and also all these AMAs as well. So please join in and listen in on some of these previous conversations. Now, this not mental health, but this health delegation around this month actually takes our delegation, or the amount of ADA that Blueshift has delegated, to just over 1 million ADA as well. So it marks a bit of a milestone for us, a bit of a milestone for a project, for the amount of ADA that we've delegated to various mission-driven pools around the Cardano ecosystem. So we really hope that we can keep on driving this and really helping the Cardano ecosystem and all these small state pool operators out there to keep on fulfilling their missions, keep on doing what they're doing in the Cardano ecosystem, decentralize the network and everything else around it. So it's a pleasure to have everyone on this Twitter space, and thank you for everyone that has contributed as well. Now, does anyone have any final words before we wrap up this space? And I'd take the silence as a no. So thank you everyone for joining me and the Blueshift team on this Twitter space. Like I said, please join us on all of our socials. Check out the Blueshift decentralized exchange built on Commodore. You can find more information about us at blueshift.fi. Until next time, everyone, please have a good day, good afternoon, and a good night. And we'll see you next time.